Yo, we gotta talk about Arizona. It's a state that'll always have a special place in my heart. It's where I proposed to my wife. It's a state that I think is largely filled with fantastic people, which is kind of amazing. Like, if I lived in a place where the sun was actively trying to murder me most of the year, I'd probably be in more of a shitty mood. But the big news that we've got to talk about with Arizona is that they have learned how to time travel.
Great Scott.
I know, this is heavy.
At least legislatively. Because yesterday, Arizona reinstated an abortion law that was first created 50 years before Arizona was even a state. From a time before women could vote, and even the prospect of the 3/5 compromise for a lot of people was maybe a little bit too much. But that's also because the Civil War was actively playing out. But then after the law got reinstated, a lot of stuff happened. So let's break it down. Because everything first kicked off yesterday when the Arizona Supreme Court, which is composed entirely of Republican appointees, ruled 4-2 to uphold an 1864 law that bans nearly all abortion. This including medication abortion from the moment of conception. And the only exception being when the mother's life is in danger and not in cases of rape or incest. And also with this, providers who administer abortions not only could face fines, but a prison sentence of 2 to 5 years. Right? And all this marked a major change from Arizona's current abortion law, which notably was enacted 2 years ago after Roe was reversed, and it banned the procedure after 15 weeks. But, and it's one of the key things here, that 15-week ban didn't explicitly repeal the 1864 law. And that's something the state Supreme Court justices pointed to in their decision, noting that the 2022 law also didn't establish a right to abortion. And because the reversal of Roe took away the federal right to abortion, the Arizona Supreme Court argued that there was nothing in federal or state law that prevented the 1864 ban from taking effect. But the first thing I'll say with this is that the law is not going to take effect immediately, because as a part of their decision, the judges put the case on hold for 2 weeks so a lower court could hear arguments about the law's constitutionality. And a separate ruling in another case requires a state to wait 45 days after the Supreme Court decision to enforce the law. So we have abortion providers saying they will continue performing the procedures through May. But also, another big thing is it's unclear what enforcement will actually look like. And that's because the state's attorney general, who's a Democrat and, by the way, barely won her last election, with the situation really highlighting how every single vote matters and how every election matters, she has said she will not prosecute doctors who continue to provide abortions. But one, that'll likely set up legal battles, and even then, two, local prosecutors could still decide to enforce a law in their jurisdictions. But also, regardless of the legal nitty-gritty here, it's very possible that this could be overturned outside the legal system, because a state legislature could pass a law overturning. And then there's the ongoing effort to get an initiative on the ballot this November that would enshrine abortion rights. And specifically, that measure would change the state constitution to protect abortion access until fetal viability, which is about 24 weeks, and that's the standard originally set under Roe. With already organizers saying they have exceeded the 400,000 signatures required to get on the ballot. Right? And successfully doing that would be an absolutely enormous thing, because directly putting abortion on the ballot this fall would give this even more weight in the election that it already has. And with Arizona also being such a big state and deciding who the next president's going to be, I mean, there's a lot at play here. Right? In 2020, Biden only won with 11,000 votes, which has made it a key target for Trump to flip this fall, which is also why we've likely seen tons of Republicans quickly moving away from this decision, without even including Carrie Lake, the infamous pro-Trump election denier running for Senate in Arizona, with her calling for the ruling to be overturned despite the fact that she literally praised the law in the past, even having gone as far as to call it great, with former Republican Governor Doug Ducey and others kind of falling in line here. And I say falling in line because we now have Trump even himself saying this ruling went too far. But with that, we've also seen many condemning his words as insincere, or because as we head into the general election, he's not openly endorsing a federal abortion ban, arguing that the matter should be left to the states, and saying, we need to make sure we win elections.
You must follow your heart of this issue, but remember, you must also win elections to restore our culture and, in fact, to save our country, which is currently, and very sadly, a nation in decline. Always go by your heart, but we must win. We have to win.
But meanwhile, he's still the candidate that every time he's in front of a microphone reminds everyone that he's the reason that Roe was overturned.
Many people have asked me what my position is on abortion and abortion rights, especially since I was proudly the person responsible for the ending of something that all legal scholars, both sides, wanted and, in fact, demanded be ended. Roe v. Wade.
But I guess the main point being there's a big mess in Arizona. A lot of this we're going to see play out in the lead up to and then in November, and we'll have to wait to see what happens.